So if you grow up in an environment that promotes, supports, and celebrates a certain lifestyle, you tend to aim for it. You understand? So I remember growing up, you go to the club and we're all doing Yahoo. Yeah. We didn't know we're promoting a lifestyle that will become what it is today. Children are growing up, they are watching you sing about Yahooze, and all they want to do is Yahoo Yahoo. You might get a job offer. The salary might be brilliant, but if it doesn't ignite your passion, if you don't wake up in the morning excited to go to work, no matter how much they pay you, you'll still be a miserable human being. And then there are 3 phases of life. First, you learn. Second, you earn. And then the third, you return. So you first learn your craft, use it to earn, and then you now return back to those. A friend, whenever he's pressing phone, he will cross his leg on the couch and be pressing phone. The other day, his wife did a video and sent. We started laughing. The son went to the same spot, crossed his leg, and was pressing phone. You know, exactly the same way. So it just exactly copy and paste, no DNA test needed. You understand? So, and it got us thinking that if he's doing good, positive stuff, the boy would automatically pick them. Yeah.
I want to be able to make my own decisions, quality decisions. I want to be able to make my own choices, the right choices. What do I do? Keep in mind that the pressure is high, but what to wear, how to look, what to dress as, who to become, and all of that. So what do I do if I'm a teenager listening to you? Hi everybody, and welcome to another beautiful episode of P&T Show. This is a show where we celebrate parenting and we inspire teenagers. It's another Friday evening and it's a perfect time to watch this show with your teenagers. I'm going to take the profile of our guest today. He's someone I love and respect so much. He is someone that I've been trying to get on this show, and thankfully it is happening today. I'm going to take his profile before we move on into the conversation. Richard Nwaneri is a seasoned professional with over 3 decades of diverse experience across industries, including telecoms, non-profits, real estate, oil and gas, edutech, engineering, and entertainment. A branding expert with a focus on corporate communications, brand analytics, and marketing strategy, Richard has consistently driven impactful results by aligning brand vision with business goals. His multidisciplinary background and strategic insights make him a dynamic voice in the intersection of innovation, leadership, and community engagement. Today on P&T Show, Mr. Richard is going to be sharing his expertise and unique perspective on the topic social proofing among teenagers. Ladies and gentlemen, help me make welcome Mr. Richard Nwaneri.
Thank you very much, Precious.
Welcome, sir. Okay, so we're going to start with talking about social proofing. Let's even understand what the word means, all right? To a layman, what does social proofing mean?
Okay, social proofing basically is a psychological phenomenon where people tend to look to other people for how to behave, how to act, how to react, how to feel. And it's most especially prevalent when you're not certain what to do. There's a proverb that comes to mind: when you're in Rome, you act like the Romans. So that's social proofing. If you find yourself in a new environment that you don't know their traditions, their acceptable behaviors and non-acceptable behavior, you tend to look around to see what other people are doing. Yes, exactly, to pick clues on how to behave. It has a very deep biological and evolutionary relevance that we would come to later in this conversation, but it can also have a negative aspect, which is the main thing we're discussing.
Yes. Okay, so let's bring it to teenagers because they're the owner of the show. Yes. So how does this particular issue of social proofing affect teenagers?
Well, teenagers are more susceptible to social proofing because their brain is at a stage of development that makes them very sensitive to it. Their reward centers are highly sensitive to validations and approval at that stage. And if you understand at the core what social proofing is, that's what it is. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, when we lived in societies where there were rites of passage, both for men and for boys and girls, so you're being prepared for a role in life. So let's say you live in a community where you're farmers, at that stage, you're getting ready to take over the mantle and become your own man and own your own farm. So you need to be sure that you're getting your farming right. If not, your family will starve. And reverse the case for women. You need to know that you understand how to take care of a family, because after that stage, you have your own family. So you look up to those you're learning from, seeking that validation and approval, that thumbs up, you're getting it. So, and if you also know the development of the human brain, at that stage, children go through, their brain goes through like a remolding. That's where your personality and your other traits form. So teenagers are very, very sensitive to social proving at that age.
I think it makes a lot of sense because teenagers always they always look for validation. Like you said, they always look for what to copy, and the moment they see something, that's what they're going to pick as who they become, because they are by nature asking the question of who am I, where do I fit in, what am I supposed to be doing. So they want to quickly fix that gap, so they want to just see something and pick it up.
Yes.
So but I wanted to address the other question of teenagers picking particular role models. So why would a teenager pick a particular person to say, I'll follow this person? So you ask them questions like, who's your role model? They'll mention one entertainer, one musician, one celebrity, right? And they want to replicate that person's life. They don't really so much care about their journey, but they care about where they are currently. So they want to dress like them, talk like them, behave like them. So why do they do that?
It's actually a combination of factors, but as you know, we are all a product of our environment. So if you grow up in an environment that promotes, supports, and celebrates a certain lifestyle, you tend to aim for it. Yeah. You understand? So I remember growing up, you go to the club and we're all doing Yahoo. We didn't know we're promoting a lifestyle that will become what it is today. Children are growing up, they are watching you sing about Yahooze, and all they want to do is Yahoo Yahoo. Why? Because it's prevalent in the environment. I was fortunate to have a conversation with a diplomat. This was back in 2005. And then he was giving differences between Nigeria and India. He said if you go to India and ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? The kid will tell you he wants to learn engineering, he wants to learn science, and then become an expatriate in another country. You ask a Nigerian, what do you want to? I want hammer. Straight to the point. Now, fast forward how many years? What's happening? We are where we are at the moment in our country. Indians are CEOs of all the biggest companies, yes. Prime Minister of UK, former Prime Minister Indian, they are literally taking over. Any course you're learning now, just go to YouTube and look for that Indian guy with thick Indian accent.
I'm telling you, they are providing a solution.
Yes. So we are all products of the environment we grew up in, and I want to believe that because we celebrate a lot of those type of, lifestyles, children will grow up wanting to dress like them. It's no surprise why almost every boy you see has dreadlocks. His trouser is almost at his knee. They feel that's
life.
Yes. So we need to provide an alternative voice to reshape them. And then the next thing is their values, which it's a whole new topic that will cover a whole show, but I believe we'll touch on it.
I like that. Okay, do you think that social media is contributing to this?
Oh, yes, definitely. So in the early days of social proofing, it was just your immediate environment. Yeah. You understand? So it's your father, your mother, your immediate relations, uncles, nieces. And then maybe once in a while you fantasize something you watched in a movie. But with social media, it's happening right now. You're connecting to it right now. And we almost don't have a say anymore. Your child will pick up TikTok and pick up on something from China, and you almost have no say.
You're not even aware.
Exactly.
Because before you get to know, they've done 10 episodes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so social media plays a very important role. There's actually a social media dilemma, is a pandemic that is hitting the society today. Some places are already putting things in place, like in the UK. They emphasize that if you're marketing, you need to write it there that this picture has been photoshopped. Because a lot of people see all this photoshopped, glamorized picture and
They
compare
think
it.
it's reality.
Yes, so you need to write it there that this has been photoshopped so that they know, you know. So it's actually amplifying the effect of social proofing, that's social media.
So the question is, even if they write it there, there are still people that will not make a sense of it. Is it not if they read what you wrote there? But at least that's a step.
Yes,
That's a step.
Yes.
And I wrote something in one of my books, The Girl's World, and I talked about how media is not supposed to be the standard, because whatever you see in the media, a lot of them has been censored, heavily edited. I mean, my husband is into media, and I see manipulation firsthand. I see how a pregnant woman can, turn out in a picture not pregnant, and every kind of manipulations. But teenagers can't make sense of these things because their brain is not fully developed. Their prefrontal cortex is still going under development. So they see these things, they interpret it as this has to be the reality, and then the pressure kicks in and all of that. All right. So, but this is going to take us to the next question. This is P&T Show, and we're not just talking to teenagers, we're also talking to parents. So what do you think that the role of parents is in this? What can parents do? What exactly can they do?
Okay, I think I'll come at this question from the angle of the parents themselves. So you need to be anchored first before you can anchor and rudder another ship. If not, the two of you would lose balance. So in my book, Back to the Source, I talked about a framework called the Purpose Compass. The use of this Purpose Compass is to help you navigate life, to make decisions. So the compass is made up of 4 cardinals: north, west, east, south, right? Now, the Purpose Compass is made up of 4 cardinals, but not the one we're used to. It's made up of your identity. Who are you at your core? What are your strengths, your weaknesses, your likes and dislikes? The second one is your value. What values drive you? Are you a religious person? So if you have a decision to make and you don't make it based on your values and it goes against your, let's say, your religious value, you won't feel anchored in life. You feel disconnected. Yeah. The third one is your passion. You might get a job offer. The salary might be brilliant, but if it doesn't ignite your passion, if you don't wake up in the morning excited to go to work, no matter how much they pay you, you'll still be a miserable human being. And then the final one is your contribution. Because whatever you do in life, you always have to give back. Always have to give back. We all know Denzel Washington, the famous actor, recently gave an interview where he said there are 3 phases of life. First you learn. Second, you earn. And then the third, you return. So you first learn your craft, use it to earn, and then you now return back to those. So as a parent, you need to be anchored properly on these 4 cardinals. Your identity, who are you? Your values, what values, anchor you? Number 3, what are you passionate about? And number 4, what contributions do you give? So when a child, kids are sponges. They grow up watching you. And is exactly what you do that they do. So a friend, whenever he's pressing phone, he will cross his leg on the couch and be pressing phone. The other day, his wife did a video and sent. We started laughing. The son went to the same spot, crossed his leg, and was pressing phone. Exactly the same way. So it just
exactly how daddy does it.
Exactly. Wow. Copy and paste, no DNA test needed. You understand? So, and it got us thinking that if he's doing good, positive stuff, the boy would automatically pick them. Yeah. So as a parent, one, anchor yourself with the purpose compass. Two, provide a very good reference point. And as a parent, you can't be everything to your kid. So you need to provide them with mentors. You need to nudge them in certain directions. You need to accommodate some of their excesses. I want to touch on two people. One started off with a sport. From when he could walk, he started playing that sport. And then till he grew up, he became a legend that everybody in the world knows. The other one started playing any sport, anything that had to do with a ball or running, or he would try football, basketball. Then he now finally settled for lawn tennis. We all know him as Roger Federer. The other one I talked about is Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was a kid, before he could walk, he was golfing. By the time he was becoming a teenager, he would go to the golf course alone and come back with wads of money. The parents will ask him, how did you make this money? He would tell people, I can hit a hole from here. They'll say it's a lie. Bet money, he will hit it. So they pushed him in that direction, exposed him to that circle. He became very passionate about it, and it directed his life. But I'm giving two examples because maybe not all kids will find what they are passionate about early. Some might try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but they'll still end up being successful, like Roger Federer. He tried football, basketball, everything, and then decided to settle for lawn tennis and still ruled the world playing lawn tennis. So provide them with mentors, places to go to where they can express themselves without judgment, and then hopefully from there they will find something they are passionate about that would help direct their life.
I so much love this. In fact, I love from the point of speaking about your book. And you guys, you need to read this book, because after now I'm going to share the link on how you can access the book. And I love the idea of the compass of life. It's so clear. So if you're a parent looking for how exactly to help your child navigate life, this is your cheat code. Just get them to have the right set of values, have purpose, make the necessary contribution, right?
And understand who they are.
And understand who they are. You don't need to keep running around and monitoring your child and helicoptering over them. It's not necessary. Just put the right foundations in place and you can go to sleep, actually. So, and I also love the instances that you have given, because it also drives down the point. I want you to, if you're watching this show, I want you to consider sharing it with a parent, particularly with this conversation, because if we are going to re-engineer the society as a whole, it starts from family. And when we talk about family, the parents are the first citizens, and we can't keep raising teenagers that we would donate to gangs, that would donate to cultists, that would donate to groups, gangs and all that. We have to be intentional. This is one of the ways we get intentional. So now I want us to address teenagers. We've addressed parents. If I'm a teenager and I'm struggling with social proving, I'm struggling with peer pressure like we know it, but I want to be free. I want to be able to make my own decisions, quality decisions. I want to be able to make my own choices, the right choices. What do I do? Keep in mind that the pressure is high, but what to wear, how to look, what to dress as, who to become, and all of that. So what do I do if I'm a teenager listening to you?
Wow, this is actually a lot. But I'll start by saying when that happens, because it rarely happens, teenagers are at that stage where 1,000 voices are calling them from 1,000 directions. So it will be very rare to find a teenager that will stop, kill all that sound, all that noise, and say, what do I want? But when that happens, if we're able to get them to that point where they ask that question, the first thing I'll say is acceptance. Because without acceptance, you can't move from where you are. You need to accept where you are in the first place. So you need to accept, okay, these are my weaknesses. I'm prone to being dragged from one thing to the other. You remember the times you said, okay, I'm going to read when I get home. Your friends came and dragged you.
I yanked you off.
Yes. So you need to accept it that I have that tendency to be dragged off what I said I will do. Accept it, own it, first of all. And then now release. By release, I don't mean surrender. You've accepted, okay, this is how it is. What are the things that are not benefiting you? Release them. What negative thoughts, self-limiting thoughts do you have about yourself? Release them out there. They don't shape who you are. Now, you've done the important part, the most difficult part, which is accepting. It's very difficult to accept flaws. Once you've done that and you've released, the next phase is now to own. What are your strengths? What are you good at? Own it. Even your weaknesses. If you know you have a weakness towards something, just knowing it can be a strength.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a strength. You can intentionally put yourself in a situation where that weakness wouldn't come up at all. Let's say your weakness is swimming. So you make sure that all you're out and there's no swimming pool. So you've turned it into a strength, you understand? So accept your weaknesses, your strengths, limitations. Release the ones that no longer serve you. Not with spite, but with gratitude that they've served their purpose. They've carried you as far as they can carry you. Now you're at the stage where you need to move on. Then the next stage is owning it. You need to make it yours. I want to make a pop culture reference. Game of Thrones. When the imp was talking to Jon Snow, he kept calling him bastard, bastard. He said, why are you always calling me that? He said, that's what you are. Own it. Make it an armor. The world can use it against you. You understand? And that from that point, it never got to him again when they used that word to abuse him, because he owned it and made it his armor. So find that thing you're good at and completely own it. So for some of us, we were fortunate when we were young, we discovered something. I discovered computer graphics from a young age and became very passionate about it. Everything I was doing was about graphics design, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, watching videos. If I see a magazine, I'm flipping through it to see that how did they use it. So it gave me somewhere to channel.
Your energy.
Yes. Teenagers have a lot of that energy.
Come on.
Exactly. So giving them somewhere to funnel it into is, even if it's not what they'll end up doing, but the fact that they have seen that if they apply themselves, they can learn something. That means if they apply it to something else, they can learn that thing too. I don't know if you understand. So you apply it to maybe football. Football didn't work. You apply it to some. Over time, you discover that if I apply myself to anything I want to become, I become that thing. It gives you the self-confidence that any job they say, can you do this? You're like, yes, I can do it. You know you can learn on the job, you know. So whichever way it goes, owning it gives you that advantage.
Fantastic. Okay. I think I like that. This is a quick solution for peer pressure. Because I tell you what, a lot of teenagers are under pressure, and social media is not even helping matters, because they go to school, they deal with the pressure coming from their classmates. They come back home, they deal with the pressure coming from their neighbors, their friends. They go to church, the same thing. They get on social media, the noise is too much. And I love how you started answering this question, which is unplug. Right? It's hard. Not a lot of teenagers are that self-aware to be able to know, okay, let me stop, let's think, let's reassess. Not a lot, but if you're a teenager watching this is your wake-up call, right? Absolutely. To unplug and ask yourself, what are the things I'm currently doing that I was pressured into? What are the lifestyles I've picked? What are the attitudes I now have, which are not originally mine? Those that I picked from the street, those that I picked from my friends, from classmates, everywhere. Reassess, and like you said, look for those that are no longer serving you.
Release them.
Release them. Thank you very much for bringing in that perspective. And I'm sure that any teenager that will go through those steps will definitely find themselves more empowered and more able to withstand pressure, more assertive, able to say, no, I can't do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, we're gradually getting to the end of this conversation, but I don't wish it to end because I'm really enjoying I'm enjoying every bit of it. So what are the values, some values that teenagers can start developing right now that would help them to be able to stand out and stand strong?
That's a very good question. Like the conversation we were having earlier before the show, our value system is broken in this country. We we celebrate things that we shouldn't be celebrating, and the ones that deserve celebrating, we now treat like is a disease or something. So, following the conversation we've had from the book, The Purpose Compass, the values you need to develop are the ones that key into who you are. Okay? So, let's say you live in our current day Lagos. What sort of peer pressure would you be under as a teenager? You have to meet a certain image. There's the ideal self and the real self. So the ideal self is the one you present to the world. Basically, if I open anybody's Instagram page, that's your ideal self, the one you want people to see, right? Now, the real self is when you're alone in front of the mirror. That's who you are. Now, this question, you need to ask it to your real self, not your ideal self. Because a lot of people go out of their way doing things that naturally they won't do just to fit in or to show that, say, I like drinking coffee. Me too, I like drinking coffee. You've never had coffee in your life before. You don't know what the side effects are.
Yeah.
You start drinking coffee, your hands start shaking, you can't sleep at night. You're wondering why. It's because your ideal self wanted to belong to the group of people that. So you need to discover who are you at your core. What are the things that drive you? What are you passionate about? Identify those things. And then find a way to incorporate them into who you are, your real self. You can never be someone else as good as that person is, and nobody else can be who you are as good as. So as long as you're waking up every morning and you're adding, even if it's 0.1% every day to that real self that you are, over time there's something called compounding. Over time it compounds, and you now find that you're moving in a certain direction. And then there's something I like to call the vote system. So let's say you want to become a fit person, someone that is, physically fit. It requires certain things, discipline, commitment, and all of that. So if you wake up in the morning, you cast a vote. A fit person, an unfit person. Do you understand? So you wake up today, you're like, I don't want to go to the gym. You're casting a vote to be an unfit person. You wake up tomorrow, I'll go to the gym, fit person. Over time, where does it stack? So if you're voting every day to become someone who is fit, even you will believe it at a point that I'm a fit, because you've done it over and over and over. And it becomes not just you, your neighbors will describe you. Not be that gym boy where they go, because every day they see you do that thing. And that's why sometimes they talk about someone, you're like, he's not the type of person that would do. Why? Because that person has consistently shown you that they are either this type of person. So the vote system, stack your vote on the area you want to become. Who do you want to become? A football star. Every day wake up and go training. It builds your confidence, your self-worth. So at that point, if people come and say, no, we'll go club now, you know what you want. You know you don't want to wake up in the morning and go for training with a hangover. You understand? So you'll be like, nah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
So finding that thing you want and casting that vote every day, consistently with discipline and consistency is one way to. There's a saying, they say, fake it until you make it. It almost applies here, because when you start, imposter syndrome, you're like, am I doing it right? But 1 year later, you're the one teaching others. So start it. Even if you're not good, fake it at the beginning. Keep trying. Over time, you would learn, muscle memory will kick in, and then you no longer need to try so hard to get the results. And people start looking up to you, and that holds you accountable. You don't want to let them down. So you have to wake up every day and go and do that thing,
Yeah.
So it puts you in that place. They say everybody needs 3 people in their life. 1 person to learn from, 1 person on their level to spar with and compete with, and 1 person that is learning from them. If you have those three, you're balanced because you're learning from someone. But how do you know how much you've learned? There's someone on your level you're competing with. So if they beat you today, you're like, I'll learn and beat them tomorrow. Complacency will set in. They'll beat you the next time, But there's also someone looking up to you who is holding you accountable as well. It balances the equation.
Sorry, you're sweating.
Yeah.
So sorry. All right. Okay, thank you very much for that response. So I want to know, peer pressure, can it be positive?
Yes.
Because we need to balance it at this point. We all have also had friends who, because we saw them pick up, because we saw them do certain things, we began to do those things as well. So we've been talking about the negative parts. So let's look at the positive part and how, if I am a teenager, how I can set myself up for positive peer pressure. I am the one setting myself up to be able to be inspired, be challenged, be pushed to do certain things. So the question is, as a teenager, how can I set myself up for positive peer pressure?
Okay, so like you said, anything that has a positive side has a negative side. We've been focusing on the negative, but definitely you can use peer pressure in a positive way. One of the ways is parents take their kids to events that inspire them. So if you see that your child has a techie tendency, you take him to events where he sees other kids doing techie stuff and they are celebrated. That kid would want all his life to be celebrated that way,
That picture will always be in
Yes, yes. A lot of successful athletes went to watch other people and said, one day that will be me. Serena Williams, the younger sister to Venus Williams, was watching Venus, and the father was holding her back. Says, it's not yet your turn. She was training. Why? Because she wanted to be celebrated the way her big sister was. So the moment they opened the door, it was like they unleashed the beast. Serena was just, she took off, was world champion, yes, continuously. And the one I've seen that has happened to me personally, Spirit of David. In those days, when I was finishing secondary school, there's this place we hang out, play basketball, they sell drinks, boys meet with girls. It's not a particularly good place, and it's an environment that is prone to negative social proofing and peer pressure. So they hit that place. They come wearing black t-shirts, black jeans, Converse sneakers, SOD written in front. They have speaker, they are playing music, dancing. Like you want to belong, you go, you join them. Before you know, they off the music and, okay, let's hold hands and pray. You're like, what's going on here, Before you know, they start praying, they start preaching, but they are still young, they are still hip,
Vibrant.
Yeah, so like over 95% of kids that experience that thing went to church the next day to, see where this thing is leading to, and it sort of changed. I know it changed mine, and I know a few other people that it's affected as well. Yeah, so a way to use positive peer pressure is speak their language. You understand? What are they into? What slangs do they use? Come to their level and then show them that this can be better, actually, if you try it this way. And then nudge them towards other people that have done it in that same way, that are doing really well. So they look up to those people and aspire to be like them.
Wow, I love that. So that's how parents can help. And I will also add that teenagers should also look out for such friends. I think it's also important that you actively look out for someone better than you, not to go fight them or to go tear them down, but to go learn from them, to have that proximity, be close enough for them to intimidate you until you pick up.
Absolutely.
And if negative pressure can push you to the point of taking action, then positive pressure should do the same thing. And if that happens, then we'll definitely have a better world.
Definitely.
So before I let you go, Mr. Richard, what's your last word? What's your advice to teenagers listening to you? What's the last word you have for them?
Okay, what I would say is do not feel judged in any way. Anybody who was ever a teen messed up as much as you did or as much as you did. We all did. There's no manual. There's no practice. it's your first try at it. So, and I want to believe that most of us are doing far better than we think we are. It's a problem we have. We always assume that our own is the worst. We're doing far better than we think we are. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to have it all figured out, to make all the money. There's time for that. I think it's, I can't remember what part of the Bible that says there's a time to sow and a time to reap. So learning that there's a time for you to learn and then a time for you to now reap from that thing you learned is also very important. It doesn't put you under pressure. I like the Igbo apprenticeship program where you do boy until you become Oga. You know, it's not you just wake up one day or Oga. You learn over time. So give yourself time to make mistakes. Give yourself time to, break a few eggs. They say if you're not making a mistake, you're not trying.
It's true.
Yeah, so as long as you're making mistakes, it means you're putting in the right effort and you're moving in the right direction.
Wow, it's been a great time having you on the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. And I hope that you'll be able to come again if we invite you.
If I'm invited, of course, I'll be here.
All right, so I'm going to give you time. I would like you to give out your social media handles, and if someone wants to connect with you, how they can do that. And then Mr. Richard has a set of 3 books that he just launched. I want you to tell us just a brief of what the books are about and how anybody can get it. However, I'll also add the link of the book in the description so that anybody that wants to get it can do that. So let's go.
Okay, so my social media handles, luckily, it's just the same word. I am AGK. Yeah, across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. I try to be hip, so I join all of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so the books, the first one is called Adaptive Development, and it talks about adapting growth to every journey. So it came from the realization that change is constant in life, and adapting to change gives you an advantage. Perfect example, the people that saw early that money was changing and Bitcoin is the next phase, and they invested before it was $1, are reaping the benefit now. So understanding the way change works and keying into it, it gives you a superpower. That's what adaptive development talks about. The second book is Back to the Source. It helps you rediscover purpose in difficult times. So we spoke about the purpose compass. Now, there are 2 other frameworks that guides the reader through life. The second one is the Labyrinth of Becoming. So now you found your purpose using the compass, but how do you go about your everyday life? I'm talking about waking up, dressing your bed, eating breakfast, relating with people, all of that. It's very important to do it with awareness and presence. You're not doing it on autopilot. That way you're able to make conscious decisions every day. And then the third is a fictional story about a doctor that came back from abroad because his mom died and then discovered his legacy. He was kidnapped, he went through, it's a very enthralling story, but it speaks on purpose, legacy, and finding meaning in time of difficulty.
Wow. I look forward to having those books, and I want to believe that you too would, want to get the book. And so let's know, is the book available on Seller, on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay, so
we're working on, it's a part of the issue we have from this part of the world in Nigeria. Getting your books on Amazon is a bit difficult. So we're working on that, but in the meantime, we have it on Seller. It's a lot more convenient for now.
Thank you so much, and it's been a great conversation talking about social proofing with Mr. Richard. And if you followed through this conversation, I'm sure that by now you're asking yourself, what next step should I take? Whether you're a teenager or a parent, there's something for you in this conversation because it was super balanced. All right, so that's how we bring this conversation to an end. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for being a part of this. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share with someone, your friends, your family, your enemies, everyone around you. Let them know that P&T Show is here to celebrate parenting and inspire teenagers. Till I come your way again next week Friday, thank you.